5 close friends, Jib, Jang, 1, 2, and Yai, had shared everything during their time in vocational school. They studied together, ate together, laughed through late-night exams, and grew inseparable. But now, with graduation looming, they knew life would soon pull them in different directions. So they made a pact, one final trip together, just the 5 of them, before going their separate ways. 2 suggested visiting her hometown in the far south of Thailand, deep in a rural area few outsiders ever saw. Everyone agreed, except Jib. Quiet and reserved, Jib always went straight home after class. Her parents picked her up every day. She never stayed overnight, never joined sleepovers, and she'd never traveled before. It was strange, but after some coaxing, Jib finally said yes. None of them knew it would be the last time they'd ever be together, because Jib wasn't just staying home for fun. She was being kept there for a reason. The journey to Tu's village wasn't meant to be unsettling. They were excited. 5 girls crammed in the back of a pickup, laughing under the night sky. Money was tight, so instead of booking a hotel, they hitched a ride from a stranger offering to take them through a shortcut. It led through a rubber plantation, dense, quiet, and unnervingly dark. At first, no one thought much of it, but as the truck rolled deeper into the woods, the mood shifted. The air turned colder, the trees loomed taller, and that's when Jib, usually the quietest, began whispering under her breath. It wasn't Thai. It wasn't a prayer. It was Khmer. Her voice grew sharper, louder. The others exchanged glances. Jib, are you okay? Someone asked. No response, only chanting. Her eyes stared ahead, glassy and vacant. The driver began to sweat. The engine groaned. And in the blackness of that rubber forest, the friends began to realize something was very wrong. Jib had come with them, but the girl they knew wasn't the one sitting beside them anymore. As the pickup truck rattled through the dark rubber plantation, the atmosphere grew heavier. The laughter was long gone, replaced by silence and unease. Jib's murmurs in Khmer hadn't stopped. If anything, they became more frantic. Her eyes were wide, but it was as if she wasn't really there. Suddenly, she raised her trembling hand and pointed straight ahead into the darkness beyond the headlights. Everyone turned to look. At first, they saw nothing. Then, something moved. A frail old woman appeared on the roadside. Her hair was wild and white, her skin pale as bone. She wore a tattered black traditional wrap, and her mouth, it was black too, like it had never tasted anything but ash. She just stood there, watching them. As the truck rolled forward, the old woman seemed to move closer. Not walking, just closer. Jib whispered, there. And that's when she was suddenly in the middle of the road, barely a few meters in front of the vehicle. The driver screamed and twisted the wheel. The truck swerved violently, tires screeching against the dirt, fishtailing before coming to a shuddering stop. Pulkmung pa arai ma doi wat. He shouted, what the hell did you bring with you? Before anyone could answer, he climbed out, marched to the back, and yanked the tailgate open. His face was pale, covered in sweat. All of you get out. Now. Stunned, the girls obeyed. In seconds, the truck sped off, leaving them alone. Just 5 girls, in a forest, with no lights, no road signs, and no way back. The old woman, she was still out there, watching, waiting. The forest swallowed them. After the truck sped off, the 5 girls were left standing in the pitch-black night, surrounded by towering rubber trees. The only light came from a weak moon above and the shaky flashlights on their phones. The ground was soft and uneven. Crickets chirped. The wind whispered through the trees. But beneath it all was something else, something wrong. Jib was quiet at first. Then she began muttering again. Her words came out in strange rhythms. Khmer. The tone was sing-song, like a lullaby soaked in madness. Then she started giggling. Not sweet laughter, but something off, sharp, dry, empty. They turned to look at her. She wasn't there. Jib. Jib. Panic surged through the group. They shouted her name, spun their flashlights in every direction, stumbling through roots and vines. Shadows darted between trees, their own breaths too loud in the silence. And then a sound, something wet, something tearing. One of the girls, Jack, maybe it was 2, pointed through the brush and whispered, there. They crept forward, hearts pounding. And there, crouched low beneath a tree, was Jib. Her back was to them, her head tilted to the side. She rocked slowly back and forth, and in front of her, something was lying in the dirt. It was hard to tell what it was at first. A lump, a shape, limbs. Then the smell hit them, metallic, raw, rotting. They edged closer. Jib's hands were red. She was eating something or someone. The others screamed. One ran, one tripped, one froze in place, unable to move. And Jib? She turned her head, slowly, revealing her face covered in blood, and smiled. She didn't run. She didn't hide. She just knelt there. The others stood frozen, breaths caught in their throats, flashlights trembling in their hands. The dim glow landed on Jib, her face drenched in blood, her smile wide and unnatural, like she didn't feel the cold, didn't care about the blood, didn't even remember who she was. And then they saw what she was holding. In her hands, slippery, steaming, raw intestines, human. Some hung between her fingers, others bunched in her lap, like she'd been digging through them, playing. The others couldn't breathe. One of them nearly threw up. Another backed into a tree, eyes wide, shaking her head in disbelief. Jib slowly looked up and spoke. Her voice was different now, deeper, raspier. It echoed, as if it didn't belong entirely in this world. You wanted to see something, didn't you? Her eyes weren't her own anymore. Gone was the soft, quiet girl they knew. What looked back at them was hollow, ancient, hungry. Then she tilted her head and sniffed the air, as if she could smell their fear. The girls couldn't move. Every instinct screamed run, but their legs refused to listen. And behind Jib, barely lit by the moonlight, was what she had been crouched over. The body, twisted, mutilated, its chest torn open, its face gone. No one knew who it was or how it got there. No one even wanted to know. They weren't just lost anymore. They were part of something bigger, something darker. And Jib? She was no longer just one of them. They had no plan, no way out, just panic. Jib was still kneeling, blood across her chin, murmuring something no one understood. The others backed away slowly, but they couldn't just leave her. She was their friend, still in there, somewhere. That's when two, hands trembling, pulled out her phone and called the only person who might know what to do. Jib's mother. The line connected. The voice that answered was raw, already crying. Why did you let her leave? Two was speechless. The group huddled close, listening to the panicked voice on speaker. She was never supposed to go far from home. Never. Not without the talisman. Silence. Confusion. What talisman? Two asked. She always wore it, since she was a baby, around her neck. It keeps it inside, keeps the spirit dormant. It's the only thing that works. And then the words that chilled them all. If it's gone, she's not the one with you anymore. Everyone's eyes turned back to Jib, who was now slowly rocking back and forth, laughing softly to herself. They had to find that talisman, or lose Jib forever. They had no choice but to go back. The forest was deathly quiet now. Only the crunch of leaves and their racing hearts filled the air. And there she was, Jib, still crouched low, her back to them, fingers drenched in red, clutching something unholy. Her mouth moved in slow, rhythmic bites, like she was savoring every piece. The body before her, no longer human, just remains. But it wasn't just Jib. Standing just behind her, bathed in the pale light of the moon, was the figure. An old woman, skin wrinkled like dried bark, long silver hair matted with moss, and eyes that didn't blink. She watched them, not with curiosity, but with claim. They froze. Then two whispered, "We have to do it now." Moving as one, the friends stepped forward. One held the light. One reached toward Jib's back. She didn't flinch, didn't move. As they rummaged through the pockets of her jacket, hands shaking, they whispered her name. No answer, just that giggle, that cold, inhuman giggle. Finally, beneath her inner shirt, tucked deep in a seam, they felt it. The string, the small, carved piece of bone, the talisman. The moment they pulled it free, Jib stopped chewing. Her head tilted. She knew. And when they hurriedly slipped it over her neck, she screamed. Not in pain, not in fear, but like something inside her was being ripped away. The air cracked, the trees swayed, and the old woman behind her vanished. But the scream kept echoing, through the forest, through their bones, through whatever thin barrier held the spirit world at bay. When they called Jib's mother again, this time with her daughter barely conscious in their arms, she didn't ask questions. She didn't cry. She just said one thing: get her home. Now, the group sat in silence as they traveled. Jib hadn't spoken a word since the talisman was returned. But her eyes were different, like something had left, or something was still watching through them. At the village, her mother waited, tears in her eyes, not from surprise, but from knowing this day would come. "You should have never taken her," she said. "I kept her hidden for a reason." That's when the truth came out. Jib wasn't possessed. She was inherited. A Pob spirit, one of the darkest in Thai folklore. Carnivorous, cunning, capable of slipping in and out of human form. Her great-grandmother had been the first, a practitioner of dark rites, who'd used the spirit for power. But after her death, the spirit refused to leave. So it passed on, mother to daughter, generation to generation, until Jib. They tried everything: charms, monks, isolation. Her parents even forbade her from leaving the house, believing distance from outsiders might keep the spirit calm. But the spirit doesn't obey rules. It sleeps until something fear, freedom, or blood wakes it. And that trip with her friends? That was its wake-up call. After that night, after the blood, the screams, the spirit, none of the friends ever saw Jib again. She didn't return to school. She didn't call. She was just gone. Her mother told them nothing. Didn't answer messages. Didn't want visitors. Didn't want anyone asking. But word got around. In villages like theirs, secrets don't stay buried for long. They say her mother took her, quietly, into the deep woods, far beyond the rubber plantation, beyond where even the locals dared to go. There, she built a small shack, with no electricity, no phone, no path leading in or out. And there, she left her, with only one instruction: never let the talisman fall off again. But even that wasn't enough. The hunger, it doesn't sleep forever. And sometimes, at night, when the wind blows from the forest, locals swear they hear it. Chewing, gnawing, feeding, not animal, not human, just her, still out there, still not alone. It happened the night before I shared this story. My phone rang, 1:34 a.m. I didn't recognize the number at first, but the moment I picked up, I heard the trembling voice of one of the friends who had been there. They were crying, hard, panicked, like they couldn't catch their breath. At first, all I could make out was static, and then, Jack. I heard her again. Their voice cracked. It was the same voice, the same one from that night. I asked what they meant. They whispered. She was standing outside. I didn't see her, but I felt her. The air turned cold, my chest tight, and then a pause. Then came the words that froze me. I warned you. Stay out of this. Tell no one. They weren't sure if the voice had come from outside or inside their head. All I knew was something was listening, and maybe didn't want this story told. But here's the thing. Some stories don't care if they're wanted. They don't care if you're scared. They just want to be heard. So now you've heard it. And if something stirs tonight, if your lights flicker or a cold wind creeps through your room, maybe it's nothing. Or maybe it's her. Stay out of this. Tell no one. Or maybe tell everyone. Because once a curse is spoken out loud, it can never go quiet again.